Welcome back to another episode of Memory Card, a Level 30 Games podcast that takes a look at the newest titles while drawing a line back on those classics. I'm your host, Dry, and with me today I got Big Tom.
I was wondering how you were going to do that. Okay. I'll take Big Tom.
I figured Shry, what is it now? Shiver, Shry, Shiver, Fry, and Big Manta. I figured Drew was the closest thing to Dry. I don't know. It's a stretch.
That's okay.
But as we continue these tandem cast puns, this week we're talking about Splatoon Raiders, which came out a month ago and was developed by one of my favorite departments, Nintendo Entertainment Planning and Development Division, because for whatever reason, Nintendo likes to put their gems in a basket of like R&D, and then they like percolate and simmer and then come to fruition. And I'll grade this game later, but to talk about it, right, we have director Yoshihiko Ito, who designed it as a water park theme and a tower defense game that eventually became a raid shooter. And I want to know your first reaction of this game.
First reaction was kind of like, okay, cool. They're just going to expand upon the single-player campaigns in the Splatoon games, which have always been like very excellent and control really well and have interesting puzzles and level designs. And they're gonna just kind of do a Gaiden quest, right? Like a little side thing. And then as we got closer to the game, I was less and less excited about it. And then I played it. And then everything changed. But there's a little asterisk. I have an asterisk there because to say it's everything I've wanted in a single-player Splatoon game, that would be false. But it is enjoyable. Okay. It is fun. It's fast-paced. It's frenetic. It's chaotic. But I did have one or two stretches where I just kind of like put the game down for a week and was like, I feel good. But it's so easy to come back to. So the last 2 days, I've really been digging a lot deeper into it.
Yeah, as I came to this game, I was super skeptical because I feel like my PvP days are beyond me. And obviously, we're pivoting and leaning into that salmon run, which I've actually played a bit of Splatoon 2 and 3, but never like to a full extent. And so what I came to this realm of knowing about this game was not as much as you or our fellow co-hosts on the main cast, Joe and Dan. And I just feel like I was very skeptical because I was like, oh, it's a first-person game like that. I was excited about, but like taking away the PvP
first-person
and like
game. Wait, what?
The reward.
You said it's a first. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I was thinking like first-person shooter. No, it's not.
No, I love third-person shooters, but just taking away the element of like the competitiveness and putting it to like cooperative. That's where my realm is, right? I'm a big cooperative person. So it definitely gave me access to the Splatoon universe, which if you go back in the lore, it is in depth. Like I did not realize how in depth
it's a little
it is.
Crazy how hard like the single player campaigns kind of go as far as like narrative threads and like backstory and stuff, especially since anytime you see anything really in reference to how Nintendo markets these games, it's PvP, Splatfests, like basically anything other than the story campaign. And 2 and 3 also had even better like story specific DLC, which was incredible.
Yeah, I tried to get into 2 and 3 because of the DLC, and I don't know, it fell flat for me. I don't know if it was like timing or I just wasn't into that type of thing, but we'll talk about loot at some point because you had an experience in the original Salmon Run versus this game, right? So this game's a looter shooter, and like some other games that we can talk about over the years have been Destiny 1 and 2, all the Borderlands, and one of my like favorite underground ones, the Division.
I really like that too.
I don't know if you played it. Yeah. And so there's 2 of those, but all of those equate to the same style of gameplay, which is you raid on an island. A lot of it can be wave based, where it's like Gears of War, right? You have so many sub levels that you have to get through before you succeed. And then there's the normal mechanics of the game of you have traps and trinkets and all these different things to modify your loadouts so that you get stronger and better. Tom and I last night were playing Splatoon Raiders, and it was the first time we actually got to co-op. What was funny is like every time you try to help someone, there's only 2 other people on the map with you. So there's 3 people. But when we made a room, you could have up to 4, which was a little baffling.
Yeah, I don't know how it breaks down as far as do they increase the enemies on the screen or whatnot. The leveling system is really unique in a multiplayer setting, and where it doesn't like water anything down or toughen anything up. So what I thought was kind of cool was obviously you have several levels above me, actually almost twice, more than twice, I think, my level at this point in time. And so jumping into a raid together, it doesn't make your enemies as strong as mine, because that would be unfair to you, and it doesn't make mine as tough as yours. The game, I don't know how it works. I'm not a network programmer, but like finds a way to keep the level that I need and the level that you need to make it fun and challenging for both of us, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it scales up. So right now I'm like 50 plus 14. I will tell you that every day I wake up, I have played this game since it came out, and I have to get in my daily like treasure chest of helping people and playing a few co-op maps to try and knock out all the spicy and super spicy levels and continue a little bit further into like this infinite dungeon, which has the best loot. On my map, on the HUD, it showed that you selected a 22 map and it said 50. So it must have stayed 22 for you, but somehow balanced. Yeah, it works really well. That there's no like carrying people like there was in the older Diablos, where you had someone who was like max level and he was just running you through, tearing through enemies and gaining you as much XP to level you up to cap quickly. So the nice part is like you still have to do your due diligence, and these salmonids are actually tough. They do a lot of damage, which I really enjoy. Like, it is a tough game sometimes, especially learning throughout. Like, you probably had an easier route than me because I was still learning all the mechanics of Splatoon.
So I think one of the things the things that Splatoon emphasizes really well is its primary mechanic, I think more than anything else, is just movement. And like being able to hop in and know, okay, I know the fundamentals of how to play this game. I know, tactics as far as the movement aspect goes. And that helps tremendously early on. But it kind of does get to a point where like you're going to die a lot in this game, and it never feels punishing, but it gets to a point where I just, anytime it happened to me, is because I was completely surrounded by dozens of enemies, and I was like, I can't do anything, or I can't move, I can't spray paint like it gets super crazy like that. Other than that, I don't know if there's an incredibly high skill ceiling, but there's a really big gap between like a casual player who gets really good and a competitive player that's used to PvP. So like if you fall in that PvP camp where you would play competitively, you're going to have a very big upper hand, but I still think that you're going to hit a wall at some point as far as what the game throws at you and what you're able to handle, because it's still more than anything you can do in a traditional PvP match.
Yeah, there's a point you brought up about just your build. The game really builds upon a variety of what you do with your things, but it's all about theory crafting. Like most games nowadays, Path of Exile and Diablo 4 and games like that are all about like optimizing your builds, and that's what happens in Splatoon as you level up. It's like, what's the best weapon that's going to give me the most DPS? What's the best survival rate of my equipment? And then eventually you'll be able to upgrade the weapons and the
gadgets.
What are they called? The gadgets, yeah, on each of them. What are they called on there? Trinkets? Yeah, the trinkets on the gadgets. And so like you'll hit like a ceiling where you're like, oh, I can't beat anything past 66. But then you start upgrading your gadgets, trinkets, and like everything will increase anywhere from 6 to 12% on that gadget. Your weapon can go up to 100 depending on if it's a primo or just a 5-star. It has a certain cap. And so like I had just upgraded a weapon from 50 to 75, and there's in your hideout, there's a little salmonid that's like gray and can take as much damage as possible.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
You haven't unlocked him yet? So there's like a little training course in your hideout that you can build. Well, one of them is an infinite damage one. It won't pop. So you can see how quickly you're doing DPS.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so it caps. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that aspect of like the base building, I have zero interest in. I didn't care about any of the like playground kind of stuff there, other than the arcades. So I very possibly could purchase it. I just haven't.
Okay. So you get one that cannot be popped, and it caps out at 999,999. And so like as you aim your gun at it and just like exhaust the tank, you can see how much damage you're doing. So you can do 1 million damage in so many seconds.
Damn.
And that's the way you can like gauge if you're ready for the next battle.
Okay, interesting.
So the end game is a true like Diablo-esque game where you're trying to gain like a percentage point because there's diminishing returns with your upgrades.
Sure.
And it's really about trying to get down to this floor 100 in this infinite. You'll get there at some point, and I'll help you get there. But I really find the looter shooter loop of go to a dungeon, kill some salmonids, get some loot, upgrade something, or like try to save more of the gems to upgrade, very satisfying.
Yeah, especially because, at least from my perspective, still in the main game, they're pretty generous with what they dole out as far as, level ups and quantities of items and crafting materials. Like I never felt like I have needed to I'm missing some weird bucket that I need 10 of in order to go craft this. Like I always feel like I have enough, which is great. But the rate at which they even dole out like newer weapons, albeit incrementally, is still pretty frequent. And the reason why I think that's a big plus in this case is that I feel like anytime I get a new weapon, I'm playing around with that new weapon just to kind of get a feel for it. Because I feel like this game avoids the trap of, okay, I have the best item. I don't need to use anything other than this until I get the next best item. But the way that some of the maps are set up, or some of the arenas, or some of the raids, or even some of the enemy designs, certain weapons are going to be more beneficial. So you might go into a battle with, like I went in the other night, we were playing, I went in with like my roller, because I just got a new roller. Like, all right, cool. But unfortunately, the enemies were kind of more of a weird tower, and their weak spot was on top of their head, which my weapon had a really tough time reaching. So, like, okay, I need to go back into this map if I lose, and I'll change a weapon to a weapon that's going to be a little bit, I don't know, easier on. And I like that because it does force you to kind of play different styles within the game itself.
Yeah, and the salmonids are really varied in how many there are and the way they are approaching you. And you really do have to, like, sometimes get a sniper rifle to get all the airborne salmonids out of the way, or the roller for a bunch of little ones that are just like pouncing around. So it's funny because the class I chose, you like zip line and you can do a lot of things. Yeah. And honestly, at the beginning of this game, I was like completely turned off with the platforming and some of the controls. So I don't know how many of the compass dungeons you found, but each one of them is class specific. So there's 3 classes. There's a tank, there's a speed, and there's a
tactical
power. Yeah. Tactical, power, and speed. Yes. Yeah. Speed, power, and tactical. And each of these compass locations are specific to those classes, and you can only use certain weapons or certain gadgets.
I just finished one that was wanted to throw my controller at the wall.
Yeah, and that was my thing, was like you as a squid jump literally like not even a few inches over the water. Even when you're swimming through and like launch yourself, like there were some of them that the platforming was so horrendous. I was like really frustrated, and I'm not gonna lie, there might have been one or two times where I called in help and just watched some guy like zip line across the screen, somehow doing it masterfully. But yeah, the movement aspect, I'm so glad this is not an open world game like Mario Odyssey or something, because I feel like I would get really frustrated with like having to do those like speed runs of little things, like collect a moon and then have to go across this maze to get a single book to upgrade yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, and I don't know how it would work open world. I mean, I would say the open islands are in some cases, I don't want to say a little too big, but obviously the game plays a lot with verticality, which I like as well, because it's less about hitting platforms. Sometimes it is about finding unique ways to get up somewhere else so that you can get like that. I'm fine with.
The other thing with platforming comes the controls. So something that I could not stand that you love, right, was as soon as I started playing this game, I was using a Pro Controller. It was docked Switch 2 Pro Controller, and I could not aim up to save my life with the analog stick. And I was like, what is wrong or broken with this game? Because this does not make sense. And then all of a sudden I had like tweaked or twitched my Pro Controller, and it looked up, and I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, why would you put that as the default in docked mode?
Because
but like
that's how real gamers play. Real Splatoon gamers play with gyro controls. There's no comparison.
I need to see like the Splatoon championships, and you need to prove to me that all 16 people in the championships are using gyro controls.
I will try and find that evidence.
Okay. Well, by default, motion controls are turned on, and you have to actually look up with your controller. And that just killed me. I've always been so much better at first-person or third-person shooters with twin sticks than a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't play
we're
well.
We're all wrong because we're not playing mouse and keyboard anyway.
I don't think. Can you play this mouse and keyboard? That'd be
no,
wild.
But I'm saying that's the way all shooters are professionally done.
I think gyro controls is the best intermediate between mouse and keyboard and controller. Okay, I'm just all right.
So bad.
All right.
So bad.
So good. Once you learn it, once you get used to it, it's the way to go.
Well, I'm glad you're happy about it.
Yes, so happy.
We're going to talk about some tropes, right? So this game starts out with a shipwreck. Surprise.
Plane crash.
You are a plane crash, but you're shipwrecked from your main city with this band called Deep Cut. So if you had listened to us talk about Mina the Hollower, right? That was the beginning of the game where you are shipwrecked onto an island. Yeah. And so we're repeating that. You are the mechanic. You are the scavenger. You are the builder. You are the shooter. You are fishing for food. There's nothing that you aren't doing that Deep Cut is doing. Because
they do jack shit. They perform a song here and there with some like big treasure, and then that's it. And then they just kind of berate you the whole time, and then ask you to do stuff.
Yeah, you beat a big boss, and they just like Kirby dance and sing, and you're like, all right, I guess you're making your money's worth.
Yeah, you've earned your keep.
And then you get shipwrecked, and you have to treasure hunt, and then when you find the ultimate treasure, they're like, let's continue to stay and maybe find even more. So
yeah, right. Which is also I the story aspects of this game I've just kind of glossed over. I hit that cutscene where Shiver was singing, and I just kind of walked out of the room to get a snack. I was like, I don't really care. Because at one point they're like, hey, we can go home now, but why would we? I don't know, like live a life. I'm not really paying much attention to it.
You'll have to stay when Big Manta sings.
Oh, well, that's going to be worth everything in the world because Big Man's the man.
So, back to the tanks. So again, speed, power, and tactical. I want to know which one you chose first.
Power.
Okay, and you stuck with power for most of it. I know you've been sprinkling through all.
Yeah,
three.
I mean, I kind of change periodically, depending on I guess the section of the map I'm going to and what kind of gadgets are going to best help me at that point in time. But like it incentivizes you to level up the other tanks as well. So
Yeah.
I finally leveled them all up. So we'll see where I gravitate towards. I like power because its gadgets add an extra punch, but I've also kind of taken to the tactical gadgets a lot as well. Speed hasn't been doing much for me yet. I think their gadgets right now are the weakest.
It's funny because speed is what I knew I wanted. I wanted this glass cannon.
Gotta go fast.
Diablo and playing a wizard class and like having 0 HP and like infinite damage. And as I'm like frustratingly trying to beat levels with the speed, I'm like, I just have to go power because he, like you said, he packs a punch. But tactical is like my go-to because I'm a big fan of like Dead Cells where you can like place turrets and different things that are shooting for you and you're doing damage at the same time as well.
Yeah.
And so those were like the two, power and tactical, that I went through most of the game. And then I got to the end game and I was like, this kind of sucks. And then I was researching like the speed tank and just some of the weaponry and how quickly it delves out damage, even though it's not the power. And I've just sunk hours into that for now.
All right.
It's really gotten me pretty far down that 100 floor dungeon. I want to know for you, if you were to recommend this to someone, would it be a hardcore Splatoon veteran? Would it be a total newcomer? Would it be one of those ARPG looter shooter chasers?
Yes.
All
three. Yeah. I mean, I think as like a gateway into the Splatooniverse, if you've stayed away from the series with its focus on PvP being the most, like the biggest part of that series. Yeah, I think it's a great kind of like whet your appetite, get used to how the game feels, how the weapon mechanics work, how the different weapon styles work, get used to your gyro controls. So that way you can feel like you can jump into, all right, like I feel like I'm waiting for the anecdotal evidence of Splatoon sales are in, and also we've seen more activity in Splatoon 3, just because people are jumping over to that once they're done this, or, there's a renewed interest in that franchise as a whole. I mean, it's one of Nintendo's, dare I say it, it's one of the flagship titles for the franchise. And so maybe if you're like a hardcore Borderlands, Diablo kind of person, like I can see you not being super interested in the looter shooter aspect because of the world being a little bit smaller. I feel like diversity in like narrative thread is not super interesting. Like there are reasons to, like, those would be the group of people I would say you might like it, but I wouldn't bet on it. I think the other two camps would be all in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a newcomer to the Splatoon series, but I'm definitely a looter shooter chaser because I played hundreds of hours of multiple Diablos and Borderlands, and like it is a good middle ground. Yeah, the maps are a little bit small. I am hoping that somehow they figure out a DLC that continues either a new story, kind of like Borderlands does all the time. They always have like these quirky DLCs that go off into the distance, right? Maybe we can go back to whatever the main city is in Splatoon with the Salmonids like overtaking Tokyo or whatever, New Tokyo. Right?
I think it's just called Splatsville. I think
that's it. Yeah, I think you're right. And I haven't even played the games, but that sounds spot on. So I really enjoyed this game because of that Diablo aspect. And yeah, it's not as intense, but like it really does. It is very satisfying logging in every day and like getting a little bit further and a little bit further.
Yeah.
Let's rate it out of 10.
Out of 10. Ooh, okay. I'd say for me like 7 or 8. I'll go 8. I can go 8 on this. There are some things that I'm not particularly fond of, and then there are things as a casual Splatoon fan that I wish were a little bit better. I mean, we hammered the gameplay loop and the feel. I think they're both astronomically awesome aspects to this game. I don't think the music is super great, and Splatoon is traditionally known for having really good music. The base as a hub, I don't know about you. I always feel like it feels like a missed opportunity, or like that level of immersion I never get, because I will just immediately bring up the menu and go to where I want to. I never travel on the base. It's immediately, oh, the match is over, hit X, and then choose this area I want to go to. So I think that as a hub doesn't really do anything for me personally. And then kind of a weird one, but like Splatoon has also really been known for its sense of like fashion and style, and I feel like that's really undercooked here. Like, you can only get like preset wardrobes, and there's not a lot of them, and none of them are really super compelling. And that was one of the hooks. If you want like a real hook as a looter shooter, play the original Splatoon, because like you will grind away to get like a pair of shoes that not only function really well or add some sort of buff, but like look cool as hell. And you're like, yeah, I want that on my character, right? So like those were always cool things that I found I would push myself for more than you know, some of the narrative stuff in this game, which I also think is kind of weak. So like the gameplay than makes up for those other shortcomings. But those are the things holding it back for me. What about you?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because as soon as I loaded the game in, there are 4 of them, and I'm like, is this a guy or a girl? Is it just like,
oh, the character
fluid?
creator?
Yeah, yeah. So I just like went with one, and then they were like, here's 5 haircuts, and I was like, this is all? Like you said, the styling, like I was hoping like I could change my shirt and my pants and my shoes separately, and my hair, right? Similar to like Donkey Kong Bonanza, you had DK's outfit and Paulina's outfit, and you could change your shirt and shorts,
and tie,
and tie, and yeah, like I've stuck to either like rainbow or now this like gold thing, that because at the end of the game you get it. My rating, surprisingly, I was much higher before we talked.
I ruined it for you.
No, you didn't ruin it for me. I just was like, maybe it isn't that high, but I'm giving it a 9. Like,
I thought you would have given it a 9. That's what I would have picked for you anyway.
I was literally like knocking like 0.25s off of like a 10 at one point. I was like, this is a really good, like, I keep going back to it. Like, that doesn't happen too often where I'm playing something over. Like, we beat Mina, and I haven't touched it since.
But why would you? Like, that's not a game that you need to go back to. And what I like about the Splatoon Raiders is that, like, it's easy to get sucked in because of how short the matches are. Like, you can finish a map in like 1 to 2 to 3 minutes, and even if you fail, it's really easy to go, okay, yeah, let me tweak what I need to and then get back into it, because it doesn't feel like I wasted 20 minutes and then died and now need to do that all again, right? So I think the gameplay loop kind of factors into the replayability, in that it's just easy to pick up and play.
Point of contention, though. Does it annoy you that there's no instant retry button?
I think there is if you pause it. So like if you know you're not going to make it, you can pause it.
Yeah, but if you fail a raid, you have to go back to hideout, load in, and then load back into the game.
I don't have a problem with it, because normally if I fail a raid, it's either, okay, I could do better, but I feel like more often than not, it's I got to change my weapon type, or I got to tweak my gadgets, because I know I can play around with that to do a little bit better. So like I don't mind going back to the base as a median between making adjustments and then jumping back in.
Unlike Elliot, which loading screens were brutal.
Oh my God, they were not that bad. Jesus.
If you haven't listened to our Elliot episode, we talked about that last month. Is there anything else you would like to include on Splatoon Raiders?
No, other than I'm Team Shiver, because her eel bombs are awesome.
I thought that was Fry.
I'm Team Fry because her eel bombs are awesome.
Because Philip J. Fry?
Philip,
no, I'm Team Shiver or Fry. As much as Big Manta's cute, nope, I'm sorry. Inkling or Octoling, no Mantas, no Mantalines.
Oh, Big Man's he's the man.
We can talk about that another time.
All right.
Big Manta.
Fine.
Now that our ink tanks are full and our team is synced, We'll catch you on the next raid. It's time to swim out of here. Be sure to join us on next week as we uncover another game that brings us a healthy dose of nostalgia along for the ride.
See ya.